Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to install an RV AC silencer. I first saw this product at the FMCA rally. I talked with the owner. I got to see the product in person, and I was very impressed by its simplicity, shall we say. There's no moving parts, and when he explained how it worked, it just kind of clicked in my head. I was like, this sounds great because we have a small Class A RV. Our TV is right there, and we watch it here in the captain's chairs, and our AC unit is right here. So when you're watching TV and stuff like that, it makes it a little difficult to hear the TV, and we're constantly turning the TV up and down depending on how the AC unit is cycling. I'll also mention that I interviewed the guy. His name is Daryl. He's the owner of the company. I interviewed him with the podcast I do with Sean Chicory for our Beyond the Wheel podcast. This is not sponsored in any way. I purchased this silencer with my own money. I paid full price for it. And I'm just excited about getting this installed in here and making it a little quieter in here. It also increases airflow throughout the RV. Sabrina and I will be doing a lot of traveling in Arizona this summer where temperatures easily up to 105. Sabrina's working at a hospital in Tucson, so yeah, we need all the help we can get this summer. So let's get right into this. It's a fairly simple procedure. All you need is a screwdriver. Everything else is here in this box. So let's open up this box and see what we got in there. So as you can see, it's just a three-piece design. You have a cover, you have a base plate, and your filter, and that's it. And then it also comes with a bag with all the hardware that you might need, some insulation tape, and it even says in the instructions, depending on the model that you have, you might not need everything that comes in the bag. We have a Coleman Mach, I believe it might be a Mach 9. There's different silencers for different models. So if you have a GE or a Dometic, you definitely want to go on the website, see what you have, and make sure he makes one for your unit. I'll also add that these silencers only work with ACs that are ducted. So ducted means that you have, these little vents all throughout your RV. If you don't have those little vents, the AC silencer does not work. It only works for the ducted versions. So let's get into it. Step one is taking this cover off of your existing unit. So what we're going to do is remove the filters. And that's going to show you these 4 screws. I'm going to then remove those 4 screws, and I believe that'll take this top cover off to get started. All right, there we go, just like that. So those 4 screws, and now your top cover is off. Next, it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more screws, and then this cover's going to come off as well. And it did come with instructions, so I'm not just winging this as I go along. All right, there's one more screw here that I did not see right away. All right, so now you see the guts or the inside of the AC unit here. You got a couple of wires. I'll just move them up a little bit. And one thing that Daryl, the owner, told me is he said if you see springs up in here, you may need to remove them to get his cover or his base plate to sit flush. So that's something I got to check out right now. And this base plate, it's probably going to be hard to see on camera, but has an arrow on it, and it tells you which way it faces. It says face this towards rear. Okay, so this is not going to sit flush. So these screws with the springs, I'm going to have to back them out and then put them all the way back in again so that they sit flush up inside that track and not interfere with the base plate. All right, so now all the covers are off. You're left with the bare metal frame. I removed all the springs and ran them up. And the only reason to do that, not every AC unit will have that, but the only reason to do that is so that when you put the new base plate on, it's sitting flush around this frame, and these screw heads are not interfering with it, causing gaps. You don't want any gaps when you insert the new base plate. I will say so far, I mean, I think this AC construction and I'm happy with the amount of foam I see up here for insulation in our Winnebago. The only thing I would say is that I thought this would be more substantial, this little divider here, or maybe like a little cap that holds this foam, but you know, this might just be standard, this might just be normal, and you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of idea, I guess. So this is what we're left with right here. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this cover on, and like I said, it has the little arrow, and we're going to install it. So when I put this up here, it's going to be facing in this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I have just 2 screws up here for now. I'm going to start with this one and this one. So you're using 8 altogether to get this started, and you are using the 8 shorter screws, and most of them are going along the back here with just that one going in the front. I did these 2 first because I thought, you know, they're opposite of each other, and it's a good way to get that up there and kind of start it for me. And I'll start running the other ones in. I'm not going to make any of them tight. I'm just going to get them all started first, and then I'll go back and make sure that they're all tight. So that's what I'll do now. I'd like to say too that it's nice that there is no drilling. So I am just using all of the original holes from the AC unit. So there's no need to drill or anything like that. Now I did say at the beginning of the video that all you needed was a screwdriver, but as you saw not too long ago when I was removing those long screws, I did need a socket to remove them. So I did lie to you in the very beginning of this video. So now all I'm going to do is just run all these up, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so those 8 screws are now in place. You can see all of them in there. And I got to say, I'm very impressed with the fact that I did not have to drill anything into here. I didn't have to drill anything into the AC unit. Everything lined up perfectly. There was no shaving or trying to fumble around with these screws. They were a perfect fit. So I'm very impressed with that. And I'm liking how this is going so far. The next step is the kit came with, I don't know the exact term for this, but I'm going to say ductwork tape, possibly. And it says in the instructions to just run some tape up here. Make sure that you're making a seal with that original divider that was there. The one that I said, you know, I thought I would be a little bit more impressed with it. So that's what we're going to do next here. We're just going to make sure that this base plate cover makes a good seal with the divider that's up there. And again, this tape came with the kit, and you can see, you know, there's already tape up here that was, you know, installed with the original AC unit and components, and this is the same exact stuff that they're using. So let's just measure this out a little bit, eyeball it. It tears pretty easy just with your hands. And then it's like a peel and stick. I do not see all that great up close to get. Oh, hey, I got it. my vision for things up close is quickly quickly fading on me. I'm sorry to say. It is no fun getting old, but the alternative is worse. So we are just going to make that there and get a nice seal. And you actually have a decent amount of tape. I mean, he gives you ample tape. You know, if you want to run a second one, if you want to maybe touch up some of the work that was done by the manufacturer, you can. In fact, I think I'm going to do it again. I don't see any harm in doing 2 runs of that. Why not? Right? I'm just going to put another piece right around this divider here. You know what it is too? I'm going to say, you know, sometimes when things are this simple, you're like, well, how can just this little piece of tape work? But, you know, sometimes the best things are simple. All right, so now we have, you know, we tape this up. You know, we separated the in and the out. We have our base plate on here nice and secure by the 8 screws. The next thing we're going to do is install the filter screws. So there's 4 screws that hold this filter on. The filter is a lot nicer than the filter that the original AC had, and it's got a very nice frame here. The frame will face down when this is screwed into place. So let's go ahead and get those screws ran up in there, and that's 4 screws. And as you will see, I'm putting the screws up without the filter because it's made to be able to slip in and out of place. Now in the instructions, it says you do not have to remove the filter to clean it. You can leave it in place and just run a vacuum through it or over top of it and clean it that way. There's no reason to run water or anything like that. But if you want to remove it, it's just 4 screws that are going to hold it in place. So it should be relatively easy to remove if you wanted to. So let's get this 4th one in here. Got those 4 screws up there. Frame facing down. Hopefully I didn't tighten them too much. And there we go. And then once it's up and you got it in place, then you're going to go ahead and tighten them the rest of the way. So believe it or not, folks, we are getting close to the end of this install. There's really not much left. All we're going to have to do now for the next step is install the cover. And the cover is just as easy, if not easier, than everything else we've just done. So filter in place. And like I said, the last step is the cover. The cover has 4 screws, 2 on each side. And you will see inside this trim, there are little inserts. That's what the cover is going to attach to. Again, the cover also has an arrow inside of it telling you which way it faces. But I remember when I talked to the owner of the company, he said this cover will only go on one way. So if you're trying to install the cover and it doesn't look like the holes are lining up, you have it backwards. And he said, turn it around. Do not drill. There's no reason to drill any new holes. So let's see. I will say the only difficult part of this install, for me anyway, is that I have 2 bad shoulders. So for me to hold my arms up, you know, above my head for long periods of time is a little painful. So for me, you know, I had to take a break every once in a while. So you might see that in the camera work, that the camera stopped every once in a while and then I started back up again. That's not really so much for editing. That was for my shoulders. So these also, might have to leave that in real time because that was really easy. And then I'm just going to tighten these up. So the one thing that's going to be left, I'm going to have to clean. You'll see that the that the RV silencer is smaller than the original cover. So I'll have to go around and clean this little indentation. I don't think the indentation will ever go away, but I can at least clean it up a little bit. So here's the moment of truth, folks. Okay, so I have the AC on. I'm sitting here in the captain's chair. I'm almost directly under our AC unit, and I'm able to talk to you, shoot a video, and not be concerned that you won't be able to hear me. In fact, I'm trying to lower my voice when talking because I'm so used to talking loudly when the AC unit is on. But this so far, I know it's only been a couple minutes, but man, this is fantastic, folks. This is definitely making a difference. And we're also feeling a lot more air coming out of our vents. So the fact that we're getting more airflow and it's quieter, that's a win. That's a huge win. We're really excited about this, that we'll be able to watch TV with the AC unit on and not like be struggling to hear the TV or messing around with the volume. This is huge. This is it works. I mean, yeah, it just works. It's great. Pretty easy install. And if you have any questions, send them to me. I'll do my best to answer them. Again, this was a Coleman Mach 15, but I would imagine they're all kind of relatively similar. So, yeah, I'll do my best to answer your questions. So take care, safe travels, and I will see you next time.